The very first thing I learned when I got to prison isn't at all like what people think it is. So if you think you know about prisons from movies and social media, you know about as much about prison as I do about TikTok dancing. There's one basic rule, though, I did learn right off the bat: keep your goddamn mouth shut. No matter what, keep your mouth shut. Now, geez, you came in 20 years before I did,
Yeah,
but
my first bid was, 1988, but I came into a high security place at the time. FCI Phoenix in Arizona was high security, and there was so it was, since it was higher, you got more bank robbers and they weren't really busting people for the guns yet, like they did later, but most of the people in there were like armed bank robbers and stuff like that. And so the first thing I learned was keep my mouth shut and ease in. And I made some friends, and then I started getting out playing sports, and then I could interact more. But when you get on the yard, shut your fucking mouth, and don't talk big stuff, and just lay low for a while.
yeah, I was fortunate for me because I learned from my dad taught me when I was a kid one time. He had this thing when I was real young one time. He said to my brother and I, he goes, listen, if you guys get older someday, you're going to get in some shit. And when you get in some shit, your buddies are probably going to be with you. So they're going to be in some shit too. If you get caught, you only talk about your shit. You don't talk about theirs. That's up to them. And so we learned it right away. And it's funny thing is I was a cop after that. And those guys are snitches telling on people. Cops don't even like snitches. They really don't, because they're the lowest form of goddamn life on the street. What they do is they get in the middle of all this shit with all these people, always knowing I'll get out of it by telling on everybody else. So for me, it was easier when I got to prison, that being the main rule, I guess.
Yeah, and like when I first got into, what, another thing I noticed with the snitch thing is I was in on marijuana charges. And so I ended up meeting a lot of giant marijuana dealers like you did over your time. And I always found, I don't know if it's true, that they tended to be a little bit more stand up. The people involved in the cocaine and the meth business a lot of times seem to give up their friends a little quicker. And now a lot of the bank robbers, they're usually by themselves, but if they had a crimey, they would usually ride their beef. But it was kind of strange. And then as you go down in securities, it just becomes much more prevalent. There's informants everywhere, and so you just assume everyone's an informant until you get to know them and realize they're a good dude, and then they become part of your car.
Yeah, it see, like, behind the fence, you're there in Isla Tuna, there, the thing is behind the fence is, if you snitch, if somebody finds out, that could be it for you. You're taking your life in your own hands doing that shit. And then you go to the camp, snitching is over dinner talk. They
Yeah.
do it all the time. It never quits. My first experience was I remember, coming into the camp and having a guy tell me, "Hey, welcome, man." So I tell you who the good guys are. This guy's no good, that guy is no good, and this guy is no good, and that guy's no good. And I thought, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, back up. I know who's no good right here. It's you."
You. It's
And he
so
didn't know what to
common.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
It's
common that
freaking
most of the
crazy.
time the people that told, they're the ones who run around calling everyone rats. It just seems like it.
Yeah. We had the ultimate snitch in Kentucky at the camp, and this guy I wish I remember his name 'cause I put it out there. That's how bad he was. When he got busted on a drug deal. It was in his mother's house, and I read she didn't know anything about it. The other guy who was in the camp was there and said, "No, she didn't know about it." But he told on his mother and said it was all hers. The case was so bad that the feds didn't even go after her, and you know what that's like. So anyway, he comes because he tells on everybody else, but he gets to come to the camp because he's told on everybody else and his mother. Well, his mother, out of being good-hearted, decides she would still visit him and no hard feelings. And he said his mother was a wonderful person. He goes, she was always good to him and stuff. So he asked his mother to bring him a cell phone, and she does. Sneaks it in during visit, and he comes back, and during shakedown, he gets caught with his cell phone, and he tells on his mother
No,
again.
shut up. No, he didn't.
Yes, he
No, he
did.
didn't, man.
Yes, he did.
No, did she? I hope they didn't gaffle her up, did they?
Well, the thing is that the
No.
CO he told it was really funny because he gets caught and he blurts it right out. It's like everybody's there. He
Oh
blurts it
my
right to the guy when
god.
they do the shakedown, and this lieutenant who was came from the pen to do the shakedown was real cool. He goes, "Who bought this?" He goes, "My mother did it. She did it. She brought it in, and I told her not to bring it." He goes, "Shut up. Just shut the fuck up." He looks around at us, he goes, "If you were somewhere else, buddy," he goes, "these guys would do you in," he goes, "but Jesus," he just walked off and
Well
left him
well, didn't
standing.
the that's funny. Didn't the guy at Florence we were with, he taught the stock class, but he told on his mother, uh, kind of the heavy set blonde guy, and, that's but she was guilty too. They were both
He
guilty.
was in
But
on it,
you're
but
s
this guy here, she had nothing to do with it, and
uh
he tells her. He was just hiding shit in her bait, but anyway, I mean, that to me, that was the ultimate in snitching and that type of thing there. But like I said, once you get to the camp, it's every day. Camp's full of liars. They're full of bullshitters and snitchers. And I wanna shift gears a little bit here to this other we talked about behind the fence and there, but you did time in a place I kind of if I was gonna do time, I wouldn't mind doing it, at a co-ed prison. And what was it like in there? I just want to stay in the snitch thing. We're going to do a whole section on the co-ed prison, but was there snitches in the co-ed thing? And how would that did there?
well, I'm sure some of the guys were, and, but cared. You're in a co-ed prison. You weren't worried about who was telling and everything. You were just trying to get your little girlfriend and get laid, or at least get a little head or something. And but the girls were more gangster than us. The girls were like at the time the way the feds did it. Six was the highest, and the girls were four, five, and sixes, and the guys were threes and twos. You couldn't get there. I was a level four, and then when I dropped to a level three, they sent me there, and so I didn't notice any telling. Everybody just wanted to stay. That was it. That was your biggest goal is don't fuck up and then get shipped back to a real prison.
Yeah, I imagine when we get kicked out, if you're going to do time, that'd be the place to do it. Be a
Was it?
whole lot doing time with a bunch of girls instead of going lieutenant doing time with spiders and cockroaches and snitching.
Yeah. It was the most desired place in the country to try to get to, when I would did my first Fed bid. There in Lexington, Kentucky, and Fort Worth was still going, but Pleasanton, it was called FCI Dublin, that was the place you wanted to get, and a lot of guys tried to get there. I didn't try to get there. I tried to get to TI, and, TI wouldn't let me in. It was full, and so they sent me here, and, boy, what a blissful experience that was.
I imagine it probably was. We're gonna cut her off there because next week we're gonna do it live from the co-ed prison, you might say, in GT's mind and fond memories. Just say that, doing time with the co-eds. That's it for this week. Jack and GT from Fed Joints to Beer Joints. Next week, we'll see you.